Hey guys, I'm in the studio today, starting a new track, and I suddenly realised some of you may not have actually been inside what we call a digital audio workstation before, and might like a little look around. I've already started some bits, so I'll have to backtrack a little. This is unscripted. I wasn't expecting to do it, and just suddenly had the idea. So, just in case you've not been in before, this is what we're doing. This is how we're building this stuff up. There's often different ways to start. Some people start with a melody, a bass line, etc. In this particular track, I'm doing a vocal remix. So step one is to find your vocal track. Step two, for me, I always like to resample or time stretch the audio so that I'm not just doing a repeat of the original. This one was at 129 beats per minute. I'm moving it up to 138. So I've already done that piece of work. If we have a look here on the lines, this is the male vocal track, and then below I've separated the female. This is Go To with somebody I used to know. And I've already done the laying out. Now I find it easier to lay the track out. So you'll see up here, this is called an arranger line or a marker line. I'm actually in Cubase. And I've decided what the track should look like overall. So I've already put, I'm going to filter some sim from the beginning. Unusual for trance, but I'm actually going to start with the actual vocal and then filter the sim. By here I want my kick drum in. Then I'm going to do my build up before we actually get the drop. And in the drop, this is the, I suppose the chorus of the original track is what's here. Then I'm going to go crazy with my sims in the second part of this drop, and before dissolving into my breakdown. I've got some vocals here in the breakdown. If you're familiar with the verse, then obviously it's quite chilled out, so that's going to work fine for my breakdown area before coming back up to my drop again. This drop will be a lot more epic than the original drop, and then at this point here, that's where I'm going to dissolve out. It's about 4.5 minutes. It's actually quite short for uplifting trance. But that's the arrangement I've done for this one. I tend to work in a couple of styles. You'll see either the more orchestrally stuff is probably about 6 to 7 minutes long typically. This here is, I suppose, more mainstream. Once I've actually laid out the arrangement and I've put the vocals to where I want them, the next thing I tend to do is go over and put in a chord track. So if I just zoom into this, it always does that. You'll see I've actually been and laid out what chords go with the vocal. That's just a visual cue for me to make sure that I stay how I want it to be. And this one is just a lot of D minor C, and in the chorus we bring in a B flat. So I always lay that out first. It's, I suppose, just keeps me on track when I'm getting lost. Sometimes I'll come in the studio. It's not every day you're feeling it. You know, there's no magic. Sometimes it's just you've got to keep working. Now, for this particular track, the main thing for me is I've got a particular groove in mind. So therefore, I've started building out the kit, and of course, we start with our 4 on the floor kick drum, and we move it along. So I've got our kick drum, I've got our snare drum, open hats, and then I've been building percussion. And what I'll do in a second is just play this looping around and build that up so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll have a little flick around. I don't want to talk over it, so I'll have a flick around on some of these and you'll see exactly what I'm doing. So here we go. I hope that was interesting so far. I'll have a little play around and then you can see how I've built this up. So here we go.
So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but I'll admit that I was glad it was over. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but but I'll admit that I was glad it was over. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but I'll admit that I was glad it was over. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but I'll admit that I was glad it was over. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends, but I'll admit that I was glad it was over. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends.
So this is probably the most interesting line of all the percussion elements. This is giving us what we would call rhythmical dissonance, I suppose. So we're putting some offbeats in and things that are just not occurring all of the time. That's what gives it some interest, or maintains the interest. What you can tell already just at this very basic point is that we've already started to build what kind of feel we're going to have. You don't have the power yet, you certainly don't have the synths in or anything, but as I say, I thought that might be just quite interesting for you to have a look at how things start. And I think with this one, every sort of major stage, I want to come back and share a little video with you so you can see how the track progresses.